Hi, Facebook Live. If you jump on while I'm still live, I would love to hear from you. And while I'm waiting to see if anyone wants to join me for this little chat about sleep, I'm going to share this from my phone. And if you come in while I'm live, say hi. If you're watching later, say something, drop an emoji, drop a GIF. I want to hear from you. Let me know you are here, even if you just listen to a little bit of it. So first of all, I want to say that subscribe to the FitFizz podcast on any podcast app if you have not already. We'll chat about sleep. There, you can hear myself. I wanted to just share it. Anyway, subscribe to the FitFizz podcast on any podcast app. I did an episode on sleep, and I'm going to be doing another one that's a little bit more specific. But I did one on sleep hygiene. I should have checked to see which episode it was. It was pretty early on, so you're going to have to scroll back a ways. I want to say it was between somewhere between maybe episodes 5 and 15, something like that. And I'm just share this. It doesn't always give me the right option because it's seeing it like I'm on business page and my personal page. Anyway, so listen to that episode about sleep hygiene, especially if you've never heard about sleep hygiene. I see so many people posting things about not being able to sleep. And one of the biggest things that drives me nuts is when people say, I'll sleep when I'm dead, because to me that shows an ignorance of how important sleep is. And even if you love sleep, you might be a person who's like, yeah, but I can't sleep because of kids, because of work, because of whatever. But if sleep is keeping you up because of stress, or your mind is racing, or you're just one of those people who you just lay in bed and you're like, why can't I sleep? Think of that as sort of like an overabundance of adrenaline because of something. It's not just you can't sleep or you're just stressed out. You can do so many things proactively in order to not have that happen to you. And when I see people posting things about how they can't sleep, I really just feel like it's I understand when you're in it, it's frustrating, but I want people to understand and know that there are so many things you can do proactively to not have that happen. So I'm going to quickly talk about some of that today, and then I'm going to mention a little bit about chronotypes, which I'm going to do on a podcast episode sometime in the near future. It's a lot of information to organize. So if you ever see me mention how it takes a long time to prepare these episodes, it's like I have all of this information dumped in my notes and I sort through it and figure out how it's going to make sense on the show. And then I start taking out a lot of it because I really have a lot of content. Pretty much any episode I put out, I could easily talk for 2, 3, or 4 hours on each one, but I don't want to go that deep with every topic because it's a lot of information to take in. So anyway, getting on with the whole point today. Pretty basic things. They might not be surprising, but yet a lot of people won't be able to sleep and they won't do these things. So I'm just really doing this to emphasize that there's a lot you can do proactively and you have to want to do it. Otherwise, why are you surprised if you can't sleep, honestly? So have a bedtime routine. Now, if you have kids, obviously, most parents, I think, have some kind of a bedtime routine for kids to get them, to power them down and let them know that, bedtime is coming. You're going to have to go to sleep soon. And whatever it is, if you take a bath, put toys away, read a book, and do some kind of routine for yourself. There's a reason it works for kids because it works for adults too. Now I know, kids might be like, I don't want to go to bed and throw a fit. And I personally think that is the adult version of that is when you're sleep deprived, you need to start going to bed earlier, but yet you stay up and watch TV for 2 or 3 hours. Now, I know you do need that unwinding time, but really take a good hard look. I think that a lot of people are just not as honest with themselves as they need to be in order to change some of those habits that directly have a negative impact on their ability to get through the day without feeling incredibly exhausted. So as I always say, like FitFizz is about energy, finding and keeping your energy and protecting it in order to have enough to enjoy better things in life. So having a routine might make all the difference in the world for one person, and that routine is going to be different for everybody. But one big thing that is proven to have to affect our behavior and our restfulness and the state of our mind and our ability to have proper and efficient and healthy sleep cycles is blue light, like from our phones, devices, phone, TV, laptop, iPad, whatever, devices. Those screens that emit blue light, they have been proven. This is without question. This is not some kind of crap from goop.com. This is like real scientific information that it affects your brain, your circadian rhythms, your melatonin levels, your hormones, and it in a negative way. It all of the blue light exposure in a very simplified way kind of tells your brain, oh, it's not going to be time to sleep anytime soon. Because like if you think of it, when in a very like primitive broken down sense, if you think of before there was electricity, people got up and went to bed with the sun pretty much, and that is how humans have evolved over centuries. And if you're putting that blue light right in your eyes, it's sending signals through to your brain to wake up. So in an ideal world, I know it can be very next to impossible for most people, but for me, I personally, if I am on my devices after 8 p.m., it's because I have to be, because I am working. And I am at a place in my life right now where fun is not really an option, because I'm desperately trying to change the state of my career and my finances. So I'm pretty much on a strict work rest schedule. That idea in itself has been next to impossible to get people in my life to comprehend, which is super frustrating. But if I'm on my devices past 8 p.m., it's not because I'm just scrolling because there's nothing to do or just for fun. That does not exist in my life. And I'm not saying you should be that way, but it's something to think about. And I've tried to convey this message to friends as well. If you text me past a certain time where I'm not texting, if I happen to see it, fine. But if you are not in my VIP section of life, then I don't owe you that response. I think that so many people take advantage of texting people anytime they want because they assume ringers are off, notifications are off. But I really wish people would have more decency out of respect for others at night and in the morning. And that's in general. I'm getting off topic here. So let me get back on track. Blue light, blue devices. There are apps you can get. One for your laptop is called Flux. I don't know if there's an iPhone or a smartphone version of an app version of it. But I know iPhone and I think Androids too have a setting where you can have it change the color. Like if you use it, you'll notice at a certain time it will look more yellow, and that is because that's to help your brain not have that stimulation of the blue light. So that right there is reemphasizing how true this is. So again, if you can't sleep, I'm being way too long-winded with this, but if you can't sleep, get off your devices, turn off the TV, read a paper book rather than from your phone or would or read something on paper if you feel like you need that to wind down rather than watching TV. It would be a good time to listen to calming music. Again, bedtime is another good place for essential oils. and I've mentioned this on one of my videos maybe like a week ago, I can't even stand the scent of lavender, but if I can't sleep, I would give it a chance. And again, I know people make fun of essential oils, but they do have their place. For example, calming the nervous system. I'm not saying they're miracle workers, but they do work for small things like that. What else? So I mentioned meditation, even if it's not for you. If you're the type of person who's always like, I can't sleep, consider it. Otherwise, I think that is just plain ridiculous. What else? I have some notes here, and I think I already mentioned most of them. Oh, here's another one. Check the thermostat. If you notice that you sweat a lot during the night, turn the thermostat down, or wear less clothes to bed. Check, get a temperature that you feel good about that's not going to disrupt your sleep. Also, if you can't sleep, it doesn't hurt to get up and do something. Get up and do something that's going to make you bored. Sometimes, if there have been times where I knew I needed to sleep, and this luckily doesn't happen to me because I'm pretty good sleeper, I guess you would call it. Sleep luckily is not often a problem for me, but when it is, if you ever find that you're reading something or doing something that just puts you to sleep, remember that for the next time you can't sleep, and then get up and do that thing that's going to make you tired. There's an app or a podcast. I can't remember the name of it. I should have looked it up before I started. Or it's like stories to put you to sleep, and it's this guy reading in a voice that's just like super boring, and he really is like the most boring voice I have ever heard. And he reads really quietly and really slow and kind of to purposely put people to sleep. So just search for, like, I think it's called like Help Me Sleep or something like that. Search for that kind of stuff. And so like I said, I was going to mention something at the end. Chronotypes. Now, this is what I'm going to do a whole podcast episode on. So if you haven't subscribed to the FitFizz podcast, subscribe to that on any podcast app. But chronotypes, there are basically, I'm not going to go into details now, but there is such a thing as, like, you've heard of like early birds and night owls. Well, those are two chronotypes, and actually there's 4 chronotypes. But basically the whole idea of a chronotype is that if you operate better in life, if you stay up late and get up later in the morning, that's your chronotype. And if it's the opposite as well. So I'm sure at some point in your life, we've all kind of had somebody comment to us in a way like, well, gosh, why can't you get up earlier? Why can't you stay up late? And making, people tend to make comments that make somebody else feel bad because they just don't operate like that. But that is very deeply rooted in your genetic makeup. And I want people to understand this and understand that however you operate, that's just how you operate. And I know sometimes you don't have the luxury to adjust your schedule because of work or kids or significant others. But if you can, go with the flow of that and try not to fight it, because you're going to end up having more energy and feeling like a better, more alert, well-rested person if you are at all able to go with the flow of your natural chronotype, meaning if you were relieved of stress and it'd be like the optimal time of day that you would naturally go to sleep and naturally wake up. And like I said, there are four different kinds. That's what I'm going to do the whole podcast episode on. But it's really interesting stuff if you even want to just go ahead and do some Googling to learn more about it. But that is a really important thing too. And I'm at a place now in life where I know I'm the type of chronotype where I operate best getting up early and going to bed early. That's just how I am. And I'm at a point in life now where if I meet somebody who I might potentially date seriously, I'm really going to consider it might be a deal breaker if they are the opposite chronotype from me, because I don't know that I could, now knowing the science behind these chronotypes, I don't know that I could or would want to try to be compatible with somebody who prefers to stay up until 1 or 2 a.m. and sleep in. Now, there was a time in my life when I was really sick with my autoimmune issues, when I was misdiagnosed with a sleep disorder, which was completely inaccurate and wrong, but doctors misled me. So most of my life, up until about a year ago, I would have told you I don't have a chronotype. I just like to sleep all the time, anytime. But that is not true. And I thought that because I was not healthy. And I didn't know that I wasn't healthy until my autoimmune issues really went off a cliff. But if you happen to feel like I don't have a chronotype, I could just sleep forever, any day, and just basically hibernate for months if somebody let me. That used to be me. But if that's you, I want you to really take it seriously, that is something to investigate within your health. Because like I say on the podcast all the time, regular doctors are not going to tell you this stuff. And frankly, like, it's not their job. We're unfortunately led to believe that to depend on doctors much more than they're really educated to do, or it's really not part of their job. So take your sleep seriously, take your rest seriously, because that's how you're going to have enough energy to get through life and to stay as healthy as possible. So I forgot the other point that I was just going to make when I was talking about not depending on doctors. I could talk about this stuff forever. So if you have any questions, let me know. Or I know this stuff is pretty basic, but thanks so much for stopping by. If you listen to any of it, and join my private Facebook community. I have little challenges in there every week, recipes on Wednesdays, and all kinds of other stuff. This week we're trying to do 10 flights of stairs per day. It's going to change all the time. I have it all planned out for the whole year. So join us, and that is also where you can just get support for your goals. Ask me questions about fitness and nutrition. That's what I'm there for. So I hope you'll join us. Thanks for listening. Have a great day. Bye.